Good morning. Welcome to West Oz. Carissa Moore already checking in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. The four-time world champ, current world number 1, prepares. Italo Ferreira, now world number 2, with some fresh boards from Timmy Peterson, prepared for the size of main break, which is looking to get pretty big today. Caroline Marks saying hi to a former event champion, Sally Fitzgibbons. Amuro Suzuki will be coming up quickly in the draw. And Costa Rica's Brisa Hennessy ready to match the power of the main break. And one of the all-time greats, Stephanie Gilmore, looking for what would be her first win here at Margaret River. For the Boost Mobile Margaret River Pro, presented by Corona. The Australian leg continues. The World Surf League Championship Tour continues. And we welcome the West, flying in hot on the charter flight into Bustleton and a quick hour drive down the coast to this beautiful place called Margaret River. Thanks for being with us on opening day on the Harvey Norman.
Great to come back west. It's got a totally different vibe to the East Coast. It's that rawness of the coastline, the energy in the ocean, and everyone's feeling it.
Let's not waste any time and get the official call for opening day. Good morning, Stace Galbraith with Jesse Miley-Dyer.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, boys. Absolutely not wasting any time. Jesse, what are we up to?
Yeah, we're going to be on for a 7:35 start. We're going to start with the women. They have that seeding round in the water, and then we're going to go into the men's seeding round as well. It's looking pretty nice out there right now. You know, really clean, groomed conditions. Definitely looks like that new swell is in the water, and we're expecting it to build throughout the day.
Any ideas on what that expectation might look like size-wise at the end of the day?
You know, I mean, look, we're here in the West, and I think there's also, amongst surfers in general, we like to undercall it. It definitely looks like there's a potential for 20-foot plus faces. So I'm not sure. I mean, depending on who you talk to, Ant-Man and Stomper are thinking it could be 12 to 15-foot Hawaiian. That's really, really big in my scale. So could be potentially, 20-foot faces at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I've got a sore toe for this afternoon's free surfing session. Back to you guys in the booth.
That's exactly right, Stace. That's a great call. We're on for opening day, but also the size call. I mean, all the surfers last night were probably wondering what exactly they'd be surfing on opening day today. Ron, there could have been a couple sleepless nights there in the lead up to opening day.
Well, we slept fine, mate. Really, really fine, because we know that we're going to get a fantastic show. The world's best are going to be tested. The East Coast, the beach breaks, they delivered what we expected. High performance surfing today is going to be completely different. It's going to be obviously a little bit about survival, but that's going to come a little bit later this afternoon. I think for the women, we're going to see really fun conditions here at Main Break.
Richie, take us through the Surfline forecast. How big is it going to get today?
It's going to get pretty significant, Joey, and we've got this beautiful southwesterly swell that's moving up into our region, and it's solid. You can see those purple blobs there and that little spot there where Margs is on the top right of your screen. So it's going to peak tonight and this afternoon, and it really is going to get big. And then it'll taper off, so 6 to 10 feet through the morning, and then you can see it building 10 to 15 and 12 to 18 foot, as Jesse said. You know, it could get 20-foot faces by this afternoon, which is just going to be so interesting for us to watch. I can't wait. But at the moment, there's beautiful groom conditions out there. And then through the rest of the week, we see this southwest swell. It's going to peak out, and then it'll drop off a little bit, and then we got another one backing it straight up. So when you're looking at the map, it looks super exciting. We're going to have plenty of waves. We might actually be looking for the more rideable conditions throughout these swells. But yeah, it's exciting times.
Very exciting, especially today. Let's see how big it will get throughout the afternoon. We'll be kicking things off with the women to kick things off here at Margaret River. Coming up next on the morning show, we'll dive into the domination of John Florence here at Main Break. Welcome back to opening day. Let's dive into the leaderboard here at stop number 4 of the season. How about that lead for Gabriel Medina, the best start of his career? And he's a 2-time world champ, fighting for a 3rd this season. Took the yellow jersey off Italo Ferreira with that huge win at Narrabeen. Florence still hovering right in that 3rd spot, even with a tough East Coast leg of the tour run.
Yeah, the world champs just showing their dominance, their experience at the top end of the leaderboard, but really interesting to see some of those younger guns starting to charge up that leaderboard. Connor Coffin made a huge leap. Morgan Siblick still holds his position right up there in the top 10. So, you know, I think it's looking more like a race for the Final Four, with Medina just so dominant through those first 3 events.
And you're also seeing how important it is to get those event wins. We talked about before how runner-up isn't as valuable as it used to be. When the format shifted a couple of years ago, you're seeing John still 3rd, Italo 2nd, Medina 1st. Those are the world champs and the surfers that have been winning this year. You
got to think, Joe, that they're going to keep getting good scores throughout these events as well. They're going to keep featuring in the quarters, semis, and even the finals as well. So it really is, you know, a battle for those maybe 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions, and a real opportunity for the canoers and, you know, Connors and even the newcomer Morgan Siblick. He's just been on a tear all year. Can he keep it going over here? They're different waves. Different surfing's needed, so we'll see.
Let's dive into the story of Gabriel Medina. As we know, he is in control of the leaderboard. However, at Margaret River Pro history, he hasn't had a lot of success run.
He sucks over here, Joe. Yeah. No, when you look at the results, though, it doesn't tell the full story. When you look at the surfing, you're going, wow, this is the kind of surfing that could get him into finals. And I think this year it will. His surfing is unbelievable. He's an incredible barrel rider. You know, this is one of Medina's worst stops on the CT schedule, but he still has made the quarters here. I think he'll go a lot further this season. He's come up against some tough wildcards here, like Jacob Wilcox in the past too, but I just don't see that trend continuing. He's too in form at the moment, Rich.
He is. He's just that good, and I think he's really going to be flying the flag for the goofy footers who have traditionally struggled a little bit here at Margaret River over the last few years. In the early years, the goofy footers dominated because we saw everyone focusing onto the lefts, but as the box came into play and as the rights came into play, we saw the natural footers dominate. But Gabriel's an exception. He's that good on his backhand, so if he can turn it around, which I'm sure he can, it'll be great to see him in the final.
He's talking about momentum at the press conference. That's what he said to me. He's aware of his tough results here in the past, and he's just like, I'm feeling this momentum, and he's ready to flex that even further. As we know, he was taken down by Jay Davies. These wild cards that will be all surrounded with Italo this year. When you look at, well, Jack Robinson, full-fledged rookie on tour, and Wilcox, I mean, Italo's dealing with that West Australian vibe. When you think of Italo, how dangerous he is to adapting to conditions, he's got that mindset of a world champion. Obviously, first wave of the box ever ridden. It was something that we'll continue to celebrate. Some guys just want to figure out how to even survive out here. First wave in a jersey into the excellent range. That was remarkable.
Yeah, Italo and Gabriel are changing what goofy footers think is possible on the CT. It's been dominated by regular footers throughout the history. But these guys are bringing new performance level on the backhand, and it doesn't seem to matter whether they're surfing the box, whether they're surfing J-Bay, whether they're surfing main break. They have the kind of surfing on the backhand that can get over the top of the more established regular footers.
That adaptability that those two guys have in particular is astounding, and you saw that wave of Italo. To take that wave on your very first attempt at the box is just incredible, and that's just experience and going by feel, and that athleticism and the strength to be able to do that it's amazing.
Well, this event, you can't get past one man named John Florence. I mean, this is his to win, his to lose. Everyone's just waiting to see what he will do, because we flash back in history and look at the numbers at Margaret River with John Florence, with the deep stats powered by Hydro Flask, multiple-time event champion. Average heat score 16.10, 83% winning percentage. The thing that blows my mind, 50% of his heats are excellent heats, meaning he has 2.8s or better, with 30 excellent wave scores, reigning 9s in 2017, all the way to that final with Kolohe. Repeated another final with Kolohe back in 2019. No one has come close to what he can do at main break.
Yeah, it's funny. We're saying, like, forget the statistics, forget the numbers when you talk about Medina, because his performance is so strong. You can't ignore the numbers with John Florence, and the surfing is equally as impressive. No one touches him when you look at his stats. He's over 80% heat winning percentage here. The next is Julian Wilson in the draw at around 66%. Julian's got good numbers here too, but John's on a whole nother level. And yeah, it's going to take something truly exceptional to upset this guy. I think if you don't have him in your fantasy team, you're a moron because he's that strong.
He is that strong, and you know, the numbers don't lie, but the performances don't lie either. You know, when you look at how he plays with this wave, and he plays with it at 8 feet like it's a 3-foot wave, and that ability to be that comfortable on the rail, to be that engaged with your board, and just to be so in tune with it is remarkable, and no one else has that level of confidence or power that can match him at the moment.
If you're a real estate agent in the area, you should probably try and get John's number, because that's how at home he is here. He should have a property here for sure.
He definitely should. He's right at home here at Mainbreak and in West Oz. He is the man to beat, and now world number 3 is trying to get a little bit closer to Italo and Gabriel Medina. Remember, coming up next, we're going to dive into the women's draw. They'll be kicking off the day today with us with Tatiana Keeley and Macy Callahan in the first heat of the morning. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to the Wild West. A lot of rain pouring down on our lineup, a ton of surf. So we are still on for a 7:35 local time start as we look at the Women's Championship Tour leaderboard. Carissa Moore, world number 1. Stellar start to the year, finally at Pipeline. dominating at Newcastle with that air scene around the world and having very consistent result at Narrabeen, making the semifinals. Caroline moves up to second. Tyler in that fourth spot as we dive into the title race story. Thanks for being with us on FS2 as well on the Harvey Norman host set. We swapped out Richie Lovett for Dimity Stoyle.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to West Oz.
Here we are, the Wild Wild West.
That's right. How did your free surf go the other day? I know you saw Carissa and a bunch of the world's best out there at Main Break.
Yeah, it had been a few years since I'd surfed the Main Break, and I was really looking forward to it, and just remembered how humbling it was on that right-hander. There's a lot of bump, and yeah, it caught me off guard.
What an incredible contrast. Going from the smaller conditions on the East Coast now to seeing some size, and we can't get past Carissa Moore's consistency at this venue. She's never lost before the quarterfinals run in her career.
That's right, yeah. Like John Florence on the men's side, Carissa has a special relationship with this destination. I think it's that connection to the power of this location. Hawaii obviously serves up extremely powerful waves and conditions, and John and Carissa just feel really at home here. They have the power to match it. They have those big rail turns. They can hold through the bumps and tricky transitions here at Main Break, and that just makes them a major threat to take this contest out.
Dimity, do you feel a comparison of Hawaiian-type power when you're surfing Main Break here in West Oz?
Oh, definitely. It's so raw, and it's just a large ocean. You just feel it. It's so similar to Hawaii.
And you look at Carissa and what she's capable of doing. What's the big difference from Carissa to Tyler to Sally and the greats at Main Break? How does she win out here when you compare it to the other event champions?
Yeah, definitely. I think Carissa just has a really strong rail game, and she's able to bring that out in the most powerful conditions. And I think that's what separates her from a lot of the other, top 5 girls on the leaderboard.
And I suppose, Ron, when you go to the air, the progression we saw at Newcastle, the progression for Carissa on the open face as well, and that unpredictable factor, she's going to use that to her advantage today.
Yeah, the big point of separation for Carissa and the rest of the field is obviously that rail turn. When she lays that board over, it's unrivaled, just how much power she has, how much water she displaces. But you're right, she is ultra progressive, and it's not just the airs. She's got the ability to really throw the fins in the pocket, and that just makes it so hard for anyone to find the tools to beat her.
Well, we've had Carissa win this a couple times, but we've had a nice mix of champions at Margaret River. When we look back in history, Courtney Conlog's always dangerous here when it gets gigantic. Tyler Wright's taken top honors. Sally Fitzgibbon's a warrior with powerful energy. Remember, DeFay was completed at Uluwatu on the left. But so we got a few surfers that could step up in these conditions today. Unfortunately, we're missing our defending champ, Leaky Peterson, as she's still recovering from the back injury, Dim.
Yeah, it's such a shame to see her not here. I know she did so well the last time the event was here, and she really stepped up because she was not titled as a big wave surfer and just went out and ripped in and got some amazing waves.
As we look back to Tyler's dominance, for Tyler Wright, Ronnie, this feels like she's got to kind of pick up the pace in the title race. Saying that, she's still 4th in the world, but everyone's expecting a lot out of Tyler at this event.
She's had the same kind of run as John Florence, and it's funny, they're the 2 world champions that went back-to-back and or got their titles, and then both suffered injuries and were forced off tour for a couple of years, and they started this campaign off with a victory, and they've both fallen out of the mix in the early rounds at the last 2 events. So Margaret's is an important contest for them. They don't want to lose touch with that final 5, and they both had victories here, so I don't really see it happening.
It's interesting when we look at the vision that Leaky Peterson's victory was monumental. She got her first win over Steph in her career, featuring that huge power wrap that gave her a high 9-point ride. Courtney's obviously dangerous in wild, woolly conditions. For you, Dim, though, are you looking at a past champion for your power surfer on Fantasy, or are you seeing someone else taking that spot?
I think so. I've actually got my eyes on Courtney Conlog for this event. She's a past winner here, and this just suits her perfectly, Margaret River. The power and the unpredictability of it. I'm going for Courtney.
Check out your fantasy team. Get the app, the WSL app, or to go worldsurfleague.com and check your team out. Remember, Power Surfers double points. And if you miss the first few stops of the season, it's not too late, because every event gets more heavily weighted points-wise as we get closer to lower trestles in the Rip Curl WSL Finals. Coming up next on the break, we'll get closer to the start with that ceremonial siren. We'll have Dave McCauley kick off the opening day of competition as Italo soaking wet and fired up for competition later on today.
Margaret River is unique. When I was growing up there, the waves are always pretty big, so I spend way more time in the water. The more time you're around the raw elements and the big waves, you take it for granted when you live there, but when everyone comes from around the world and they see it for the first time, they're like, wow. Probably the biggest attraction for me in the southwest would be the beaches, the clean water, the fishing. There's a lot of really nice wineries, the nature there, and there's just so many different landscapes that you can go to within such a short area. I remember when it was a QS for all the years before, there were so many good guys that would come. And when they did turn into a CT, I was like, I got to be in this thing, and stoked to be full-time in the event now. The Boost Mobile Pro for me this year will be one of the most special events because so much going on this year, and we didn't know if we were actually going to be able to have the events at home as well. So to have a bunch of events in Australia and to have one at my home, it's going to be pretty exciting.
Jack Robinson there, absolutely amping to get competition underway here at the Boost Mobile Margaret River Pro, presented by Corona, as we take eyes and place them on our opening ceremony. The Windani people of this region, we pay our respects to them, elders past and present. And Kaya, welcome to country, and what a country it is. This is so awesome to be back in the West, one of our favourite stops on the championship tour. And there is a real connection between the people and this part of the world, and we're lucky to be here to enjoy it all. Ronnie Blakey with Richie Lovett, and Rich amping to get things underway in what will be some of the trickiest and scariest conditions that we've seen for the women's